Hello and welcome to today's episode of Coach's Corner. I sat down with a fellow personal trainer here at World Gym Birkengarry, Ep3. We talked all things wellness, what it means beyond just working out, how mindset and mental health play a role in performance, and his insight within the fitness industry. Whether you're a coach, a client, or someone with an interest within health and fitness, there's definitely something in this chat for you. So let's jump into it. Hello and welcome to Coach's Corner. This podcast is where we talk all things deep into the world of health, fitness, business and mindset with people excelling in their field, sharing raw insights, real stories and practical tools to level up your game. My name is Sam Eames and this is episode number 3. Today I welcome another fellow personal trainer and coach here at World Gym Birkengarry, Ep3. Welcome Pete, happy Monday. How you doing today?
Yeah, pretty well. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. How was the morning?
Yeah, pretty busy.
Back to backs?
Yeah.
What time are you in this morning?
5 a.m.
5? Yeah, okay. Until...
I finish off at 7:30 tonight.
Yeah, well, yeah. And how do you normally go over those sort of... Is that like an average day?
Yeah, it's an average day.
Yeah.
So you sort of, have your little blocks and, have your little gaps in between and then get back into it.
Yep. Yeah. That's good. So we're just going to start off with a little bit of your origin story and background.
Yeah.
So Pete, how long have you been a PT for?
Been a PT for around 20 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And that's been consistent?
Yeah, consistent over the 20 years. I probably started doing PTs before that, but consistently for the past 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a very long time. Did you do anything before that?
I've done many things. Owned a cafe, worked in HR, done bodyguard work for as well. And what else have I done? Also worked with my father too, restoring homes.
Okay. And then what made you start in the fitness industry?
I've always been an athlete since I was a young age. I've always been interested in it, and I always wanted to, I guess, reach the peaks of the performance of an athlete. So that always interested me, and that's what got me into this line of work.
Yeah, cool. So what sport were you playing?
Used to play rugby league, boxing, soccer, and tennis.
Wow. Ticked all the boxes there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a favourite?
Yeah, boxing.
Boxing, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, boxing.
Yeah. And you've been at World Gym Birkengarry now for 8 months?
About a year.
A year now? Okay.
Yeah, about a year already. Goes quick.
Cool. And how are you finding it?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool, unique place.
Yeah. So what brought you to World Gym Birkengarry and where were you prior to this?
Prior to this, before moving to Queensland, I was in Sydney. Mm-hmm. So I was based at the same gym for the past 15 years. And then we decided to move up here in 2022. I did work in a couple of the Bribie Island gyms, but they were a bit too small and too quiet for me. I do prefer the commercial
Big
environment.
Commercial ones, yeah.
Yeah, I like the buzz.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've only ever been in World Gym Birkengarry, but what's the difference between here and the one down in Sydney?
Well, the one in Sydney was based in a casino, so there's a point of difference there where it's sort of a bit of a catchment, for the casino upstairs. Member-wise, pretty similar. Environment-wise, it was much more multicultural. Like you have a whole, melting pot of different cultures in the gym. So you did have a variety of different cultures there, but pound for pound, the gyms are pretty well matched equipment-wise and the way they're set up. They're both beautiful gyms. And I guess they both have their beautiful member base as well.
Mm-hmm. And like member base-wise, what were some of the differences between, what was the one down there called?
Mount East Gym.
So what was the difference between there and here?
Member-wise?
Like culture?
Oh, man. Over there you had a large Middle Eastern culture and a large Asian culture. So you had, pretty predominant Vietnamese, Laos, Thai, Cambodian, and even Philippine culture. Mm-hmm. And with the Middle Eastern cultures, you had a lot of Lebanese, Iraqi, Iranian, and you also had a Slavic culture there too. So you had Croatians, Serbians, Italians, and you also had Greeks as well. So you had that European mix as well. Mm-hmm. So it was very diverse, super diverse, super friendly too.
Mm-hmm. And like, to me, that's crazy with a gym and a casino in the same facility.
Yeah.
Like, can you talk a little bit more about was there any challenges with that, or like would someone finish a PT session with you and then head up for a gamble? Like,
Yeah, well, there were a lot of none of my clients personally, but there were a lot of the members of the gym that you'd sort of enter upstairs and you'd see them gambling, stuck in that little phase where they're throwing their money away, which is a bit sad. A lot of them, would have spent a lot of their money up there. I guess one positive and one plus about having a casino backing is that you got unlimited resources. That health Mounties Leagues Club generates about $1 billion a year in revenue, so they're pretty unlimited in their funding and what they can provide to the members. So if they want to sort of bump up the competition and wipe someone out, they can.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you were very well known down there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, super well known.
Yeah, and how did you kind of build that reputation?
I guess through my style and friendliness with the members as well. I guess a lot of people were attracted to my style, and a lot of the athletes I used to bring to the gym. So people used to come and watch the shows I used to put on, which I haven't had a chance to do at this point in time at this gym. I haven't really got that clientele base at the moment. But yeah, they saw a lot of the performances I put on, and I guess they were attracted by that, and that's what attracted them to the training.
And then when you say shows,
yeah,
what do you mean by that?
Like you'd get professional boxers coming in, and I obviously put them through their paces, and sort of a lot of unique stuff that they'd never seen before. Mm-hmm. So for them, they're like, wow, we've never seen this type of thing before. So you'd have a crowd building up just to see the difference in the training styles compared to what they've seen before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. And I still find your work schedule down there crazy. So can you just talk a little bit like the times you'd start, and then what time you'd kind of finish off in the morning, and then when you'd be back at the gym the next day?
Yeah, say, for example, today I'd come in at 5, I'd pump out a few PTs, and I'd have my reformer class at 7. And then usually I'd have someone from 8:30 till about midday straight. Today's a bit of a funny day where a few of those people were not here. And then I'll have a break at lunch, come back afternoon block for a few PTs. So it's pretty broken up at the moment. I'm trying to piece it all together. And then I've got my reformer block in the afternoon from 5:30 to 7:30, and then I might go home. So living on Bribey Island, I'll get home by about 8:30 and then be up again at 3 a.m. the next day. And
then compare that to your routine back down in Sydney.
Yeah, that was just back-to-back craziness.
And what time would you start?
7 a.m. and finish off at 1 a.m. in the morning, back-to-back with about half an hour with a break just to eat. So it's totally different, but the difference was I was on the roll, so I never stopped.
Yep. You don't let the fatigue catch up to you?
No.
Yeah. How many coffees is too many coffees?
Probably the amount I've had at the moment, so I've had 5 already.
It's by 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Do you drink pre-workout?
No, never had it in my life.
Yeah, well, yeah. So you rely on coffees a lot more than...
pretty much. I shouldn't, but...
Caffeine tablets, anything like that?
No.
Or just coffee?
No, just coffee.
Yeah, cool. That's not a bad thing, definitely. Yeah. Let's ditch the headphones, I reckon. What made you move to Queensland?
It was in the middle of the COVID lockdowns. We were sort of... there's a few things that made me move up here. First of all, was the COVID lockdowns. Weren't sure what was happening at the time back in 2021. And also we had a lot of cocaine deals happening next door. Like it was just a constant thing all day. So I didn't really want to raise my daughter in that environment. I grew up in a sort of pretty rough environment, and it's something I never really wanted her to grow up around and see as a child. So we built this home here on Bribey Island, moved up here in 2022, and we've been here since.
Yeah, cool. So just tracking back to the casino gym, was there much violence around there, or did you have to really be careful with...
Yeah, there was a fair bit of violence back in 2012. You had a gang war between the Comancheros and the rebels where they smashed up the whole gym into pieces. Yeah. So that was a pretty scary event for a lot of people. But yeah, you did have a lot of gang-related violence happening there, even if with one of my clientele actually getting shot dead in a mistaken identity sort of killing, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was there any, how do I word this? was there any like stigma around training a certain culture compared to other cultures around the gym, or was all pretty well?
No,
It was more the casino
all
side.
was pretty well. Like anywhere, most people are pretty cool. They're pretty nice. You do have those elements, which most of the time, if you're not bothering them, you're not in their business. You're not really going to get bothered.
Yep.
But yeah, I prefer to stay away from that sort of element.
Yep.
Yeah.
And bribery's a little bit more chill compared to.
A little bit too chilled.
Yeah. Oh, you like a little bit of chaos here and there?
Yeah, I like the buzz, man.
Yeah.
I like the chaos.
Yeah. If you weren't a PT, what do you think you'd be doing?
If I wasn't a PT, to be honest, I'm not sure.
Really?
I've never really thought of it.
Yeah, okay.
Doing
It's just always
else.
been fitness.
I've always had that vision of being in the athletic or training field.
Mm-hmm.
So I was either going to be a sports star or I was going to be a trainer.
So you touched on it a little bit before, but what was your fitness journey before becoming a PT?
As in sports-wise?
Sports-wise,
yeah. I started off playing rugby league as a kid. Obviously, I was a little bit undersized. I was pretty talented at that. I was really, really good at soccer. Ended up playing under 21s for the NSL back then, so for Sydney United as a 15-year-old. So, yeah, I started late as a soccer player for about 11, but just, I was pretty talented in it. I just never really had any true desire and interest in it. I just happened to be pretty good at it. So, not having the desire sort of fizzled out probably in my late teens, 17, 18. I sort of found other interests in life that sort of, obviously a lot of, a lot of temptations too, sort of drew me away from that.
It's around that age as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Kind of just leaving
a lot
school.
of temptations, a lot of trauma. Sort of, I couldn't keep focus, so I sort of fell away from that side of things. Even in the boxing side, even though I was really, really good at it, I'd prepare for camp, then I'd, break it, fall out, just due to temptation, the silly stuff as a kid. Being drawn to silly things. Yeah. So, yeah, if there's any kids listening out there, just stay focused and don't get distracted.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Ever trained anyone famous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've trained quite a few NRL players. Ben Barber, Sam Cassiano, Frank Pritchard, Josh Morris, pound for pound, best kickboxer in the world, Michael Zambidis. Trained a lot of WNRL players and a lot of various athletes in Europe.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Anyone at the moment that you can say? Or
not at the moment, no.
No.
Yeah, at the moment I've been a bit quiet the last 2 years.
Would you rather train an athlete or would you rather train general population?
To me, athletes are a lot easier because you can apply your full skill set.
Okay.
Whereas general population, you probably have to break it down a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's rewarding in itself watching a general population person, somebody who's come in, not knowing anything about training and watching them evolve and get that confidence. That's a pretty cool thing too.
Yeah, so you get different rewards out of both.
Yeah.
Both of them, yeah. Oh, that's cool. What's the most common mistake people make in the gym?
Probably not knowing what to do, not having any education and sort of just free-flowing through the gym and not having a plan. Even if you haven't got a plan, it's just good to have that education so you have that idea of what you're doing, because you see a lot of people just waste their time for years and you're like, man, I wish you just even bought yourself a pack just to get an education and then just go from there. It's I think it's really important to get educated in this field because it can be, you can either waste your time and you can hurt yourself too if you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. What's an underrated exercise people should do more?
Oh man, underrated exercise, man. More legs.
More legs, yeah.
More legs, more leg work, more core work.
You think people focus on the upper body a little bit too much? Or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Why do you think that is?
Because they find it easier, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had clients that probably prefer to do lower.
Yeah.
And not to be like favourable in genders, but it does tend to be the females that prefer to train the lower body.
Yeah, and the males seem to prefer the upper body, and I try to leave them balanced out. I try to promote that balance in the training.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
They're a more complete athlete overall, whether
Yeah.
the general population or elite athletes.
An athlete, yeah. What exercise would you ban if you had the power?
Oh man, people with terrible deadlifts say.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, poor technique deadlifts. I'd ban them from performing them.
Yep. Yeah, the amount of people you kind of see with like that arching, vomiting cat sort of posture.
Yeah, that's it's not good.
What do you think that's from? Lack of education?
I guess it's a lack of education and poor habits built over time. You might see somebody who's been training for 20, 30 years and they've been performing that move that same way and they've never really corrected it and they're too stuck in that way. So, you know, it's a variety of things, I guess, but it all comes down to lack of education.
Yeah. Do you think there's a little bit of ego in that as well?
Yeah, of course. You know, there's always ego when it comes, when weightlifting is involved. You know, people are trying to go heavier to impress, whether it's their own ego or someone else around them. You know, and I guess that's the downfall of a lot of people getting hurt.
Yeah, definitely. What's a common piece of advice you give most clients?
Stay calm and just concentrate on technique. Don't worry about weight. Get your technique right and the power will come. Yep.
Yeah, cool. How much do you think a semi-decent PT can make in a year?
Oh man, if you're a really good PT, and you're in the right environment, you should be making at least $5,000 a week, minimum. Yep. If you're in the right environment and you know really dedicate yourself and put your energy and focus, you should be making at least $5,000 a week. Yeah, right. You should be. If you're not, then you got to be working on your game in some way. I understand it's a bit tough here with the demographics. You know, obviously, you know, a lot of people are struggling with the inflation, you know, and the cost of living. But yeah, you know, long term wise, if you're in a place for more than 5 years, you should be aiming for at least $5,000 a week.
And is that purely sessions or programs, or like what's the breakdown of that?
Man, I'd say sessions, but the problem with doing sessions back to back is you do get run down after a while. But so I'd say, you know, progressing yourself and integrating into the online coaching as well. You know, social media, podcasts, and many other things. You just have to, you gotta obviously, you know, branch out into many different things and
find what works.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
And you got to be real and passionate about it too.
Yeah. Obviously, those Monday morning sessions at 5 a.m. is a little bit harder than
they're hard.
Others, but you have to get through it.
You got to present, and you got to put your face on and give them a quality session.
Especially if they're paying good money for your time.
Money, man. So you got to provide a good quality session.
Yep. No, definitely. Cool. Well, yeah. Let's jump into the wellness space a little bit. So, when you think of wellness, what does that really mean to beyond just looking fit?
It's being mentally at peace with yourself, being spiritually at peace with yourself, eating right, and obviously being well all around. It's not just about just your weight training. It's about what you do at home with your eating, and it's about what you do up here with your mental health as well, whether you're meditating, affirming. There's a whole range of things that go into wellness. And also, I guess, advancing yourself with knowledge as well. The more knowledge you have, you know, in regards to health, the better you're going to be overall with your wellness.
Are there a few insights that you want to give on how you kind of practice wellness and your routines? It doesn't have to be daily, or if you're feeling burnt out or unmotivated, like how do you kind of pick yourself back up again? What are a few things that may help someone else listening or watching this?
Well, if you're stuck in a rut and sort of fallen down a bit, probably the best thing to do is probably take a break for about a week, just reset yourself. Start off with cleaning out your eating. You know, start eating as clean as you can just to feel good. And I guess from there, get yourself, you know, some nice sleep and you know, do meditation to get your mental health in order too. And, you know, obviously if you have any deeper sort of problems, I guess, you know, seek a counsellor and have a chat to somebody and, you know, work those out, face them, and get back into business.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I'm just going to reset that to you.
You're okay.
So what are a few simple things people can do daily to help better themselves overall?
Set yourself a routine. So get up at the same time every day if you can, if you're fortunate enough to do that. Start off with a nice clean breakfast. Even catch yourself when you're thinking negative thoughts, and try and catch them and change them into a positive thing, just to reset your mind into a positive state. I think that goes a long way in being positive and feeling well.
Mm-hmm. Is there an example that you would have for that, or?
Yeah, for example, you might be feeling a bit crap on the day, and you're just having these negative thoughts, such as you're tired, you feel like you're banging your head against the wall. You just got to catch yourself saying that, and just firm to yourself everything's going to be well, and everything's working out, everything's great, and just just follow your actions and just think positive.
So it's more that self-talk.
Yeah, you got to self-talk yourself up.
Yeah.
So if you're always down on yourself, it's going to become your reality. The more you positive talk, the more your reality becomes positive.
Do you have your own affirmations that you tell yourself?
Yeah, I do. I tell myself I'm always, feeling healthy. I'm always wealthy. I'm always loved. I'm always giving love in return. And I'm always striving for greatness because I'm great.
Mm-hmm.
You got to believe that you're great to be great.
Yep.
If you don't, you'll never be great.
No, definitely. How do you help clients find that sweet spot between smashing goals and not burning out?
Obviously preach to them that training every day is not the best thing. I had someone talk to me about it this morning, that they train 6-7 days a week, and they're feeling a bit flat.
Do you find they brag about that?
Some of them do. Some of them brag about it. Some of them just, they just have that belief that they need to do that.
Okay.
So they can, achieve their physical goals. But, a lot of them don't understand that the body does need that recovery time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give them that advice of doing, 2 days on, a day off, 2 days on again, and then maybe having the weekend off if, that's their sort of routine. And then that way they always stay fresh, and, even once every 8 to 12 weeks, take a week off completely and just regenerate mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how important is recovery?
Very.
Yeah.
Very. If you don't recover, you don't have any recovery time, you're not really going to benefit at all. You're not going to get stronger. You're not going to build muscle. And you're going to become pretty mentally weak over time.
Mm-hmm. What are your go-to recovery sessions or tips?
I just like to go out in nature and just sort of stop for a moment, just breathe in the fresh air. If you can go to the beach, hop in the water, get some salt water into you, and just just relax.
Yep.
Find a way to relax from the busy lifestyle that we live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever it is, whether you're gardening or whatever it is that you like, where you can just think about nothing.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely you definitely need to find that routine or that thing that you can really utilise to help set yourself up for that next session or that next day or next event.
Some people find it through yoga, some people find it through a walk on the beach, some people just find it through laying down listening to music or doing meditation. Whatever way it is, just do it.
Yep. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about Peter X and your personal practices.
Yeah.
What are your non-negotiables for your own wellness?
Non-negotiables, probably eating chemically processed foods, watching negative related stuff like the news and all that. I try to keep clear of listening to any sort of negative news stories. Obviously, like I said, eating as clean as you can, and even doing a meditation, here and there helps me out a lot.
Mm-hmm. How important do you think it is having good gut health? That then ties in with like your mental health? Yeah,
of course. Your gut health obviously plays a big role in your overall health. So, obviously not eating rubbish foods all the time, is going to help you, preserve that gut health. And, adding that pre and probiotic, during the day is going to give you a hand there. So cutting out all your artificial sweeteners, anything that's got chemical numbers on your foods, just get rid of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think that's not talked about enough in the industry?
I don't think so. Yeah. And even with the labeling at the supermarkets,
Yep.
you see things which are light diet, whatever it is, just full of garbage.
High protein.
Yeah, high protein. You just look
Yep.
at it, man, that's just garbage ingredients, just fillers.
Yep.
Yeah, so the cleaner the ingredients, the better it is for you,
Mm-hmm.
and the easier for your body to process.
Definitely. Do you have a morning routine or evening routine that sets you up for success?
Yeah, I get up as soon as my alarm goes off at 3 a.m. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'll get up. I'll do some breathing exercises just to bring myself to the present. I'll talk to myself and just set some goals for the day. Then I'll go have myself I'll make myself a nice smoothie, and I'll make a coffee, and then I'll head to work and think about what I want to do for the day.
Yep.
My long drive to World Gym in the morning.
What's that drive? 40 minutes?
It's a 40-minute drive.
40 minutes, yeah. Just going back to the breathing exercise, because I kind of honed in on it a little bit a couple of years ago, like the Wim Hof and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want to share some of your like routines or holds and the benefits of the different ones?
Yeah, pretty much I try to close my eyes, go somewhere where I'm not really going to be bothered, and I just start breathing in through my nose and then out through my mouth. At first you'll start off with a shallow breath. As you relax a bit more, you'll find that your breath gets deeper and deeper, and then once you get really good at it, you breathe in and you can hold your breath for at least 30 seconds and release, and you'll find out that you don't really need to breathe all that much to sort of function. And your body's pretty amazing at regulating what's going on with a nice slow breath.
Do you listen to audiobooks or read much? Or,
yeah.
Have you ever listened to the book Breath by James Nestor?
No, I haven't.
Okay, maybe chuck that on your wish list.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, it's the importance of between nose breathing and mouth breathing.
Yeah.
And they actually did 2 separate studies where I think for like 4 weeks, whatever, he taped up his nose and he only breathe through his mouth, and then vice versa. And the benefits, like he didn't get sick when he's breathing through his nose, because obviously that's a filter for the rest of your lungs. And it's a really interesting book.
Yeah, so the breath through the nose was obviously more advantageous over the breath through the mouth, obviously because it's due to the filters going through your nose.
Definitely.
Yeah, cool.
So how do you handle your own stress when life gets hectic?
Oh, that's something I'm still working on, to be honest. I try to obviously do these meditations and this breath work, but it doesn't always for myself, and that's a release in itself.
Yeah, no, that's good. And obviously training helps a lot with the stress.
Yeah, it's an outlet. Yeah, for sure.
Are you more of a heavy lifter or cardio?
Man, I like a mix.
Okay.
I like a mix of heavy lifting, explosive lifting. Sometimes I might go into lighter mechanical lifting as well. When it's related to, say, a movement I might want to improve in a sport or whatever. But yeah, I do like heavy lifting. I'm not really into cardio, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm terrible.
How do you see the relationship between mental and physical health in your own life?
It's very important. The minute your mental health falls apart, your physical health falls apart too. So I guess they go hand in hand. The poorer your mental health is, the poorer your physical health is going to be.
Definitely. Yeah. And do you think that's, once again, not spoken about enough?
Yeah, it's not spoken enough. And I guess with a lot of us, I guess it's good for us. A lot of us carry a lot of trauma, whether it be through traumatic childhood experiences, things that you've seen. Probably good for most of us to turn around and face those fears and all those traumas, whether it be speaking to a counsellor or whatever, and come face to face with them so you can improve yourself as a human being, because they're going to weigh you down for the rest of your life if you keep running. Yeah.
There's one thing that I really find that helps with clients if they come in and they just don't want to be there in the first place. And what I say is if you're flat out at work or at home or with the kids, whatever it is, that gym session, whether it's 45 minutes or 60 minutes, whether it's with a trainer or not with a trainer, you leave all your shit at that door. And then as soon as you walk in through those doors, you focus on yourself for that 45 minutes, 60 minutes. Try not to worry about anything else. Turn your phone off, turn the notifications off, whatever you need to do. And then after that session, once you walk back out those doors, it's up to you whether you take that all back on straight away, or if you just let it settle a little bit.
Yeah, and that's where we come into it and sort of give them that that assistance too into getting them focused into the job, you know. And then once they get the training session done, you know, there's nobody that walks away that doesn't feel better.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and you know, with the nice chemical boost that they've received as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess they deal with stress a lot better, and they come up with solutions for those stresses.
Mm. Well, that's one thing I really got out of playing soccer was didn't matter if it was mental health, financial stress, you know, relationship, whatever it was. As soon as you step over that white line with your teammates and that whistle goes, you forget about all of that, and that's your outlet for the next 90 minutes, or if it, you know, 80 minutes, whatever sport it is. Doesn't have to be soccer. And then after the game, it's up to you whether you take all that back on board or, you know, yeah. For me, it was a really good outlet to help with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it would be. You know, it takes your mind off all your troubles, and when you return, I guess you got a clearer head, and you can sort of work out a few of those problems and resolve them at the same time.
And maybe same thing for you for boxing. Like as soon as you put those mitts on and you got your music in or whatever it is, and you get on that bag, like
it's a release. Yeah, I guess that's why a lot of people come and do boxing. It's a bit of a meditative release, especially when they hear those pops on those pads.
Yep.
You know, as you know, you see it in your clients when they hear those pads. They're like, ooh.
Yeah, you can tell where that one came from.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable experience. It's quite addictive too.
Yeah. Just move that mic a little bit closer to you.
Yeah, that's cool.
How do you support clients who are struggling with confidence or body image?
You know, you just reaffirm to them that they're doing great and they're improving every day and they're beautiful as they are. You know, everyone's unique. We're all beautiful in our own way. And just remind them that, you know, they're capable of doing and being anybody that they want as long as they put the energy into it and believe in it. They'll become that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. What's your approach when somebody's mentally not up for training?
If they're mentally not up for it, you know, obviously I have a chat to them to start with. And, you know, if they're feeling a little bit better after that, I usually get them into something really light. And within the conversation, once you get them into something really light, you'll find that they forget about their problems and they just click into gear and go. You know, that's where it's our job to come into it and you know, give them that little bit of, you know, mentorship mentally, and, you know, get their mind off whatever's happening and switch their focus onto something else in a gentle way.
Mm-hmm. And do you find that, what's the success rate of that?
Man, close to 100%.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anyone just not, just walk straight out?
I have, but that's, you know, you're talking about a serious problem. Like, for example, you know, the only time that's ever happened is when someone's actually passed away and, you know, they've received that news, and obviously, you know, you got to stop the session and, you know, you got to let them grieve.
Yep. Yeah. An example is I had a very young client quite a few years ago, and he was from a very troubled household, and his carers just wanted to pay for X amount of sessions up front, and I really found it hard to try and like gel with him. Like we had obviously had nothing in common. He didn't even want to be there, and it was a real challenge. Like it's really hard to train someone that doesn't even want to be there, had absolutely no interest in it whatsoever, wouldn't even, you know, have a conversation, which is fine. Not everyone wants to have their chats.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like on one of our last sessions, we sat down on the chest press downstairs here, and he goes, "Can we just go sit out in the balcony, out on the deck?" And I said, "Yeah, you know, is everything all right?" And he goes, "Yeah." We went out there, and I said, "What's been going on? You had a like really bad day at school, you know, everything all good?" And he goes, he just puts his phone up on the table, and he just looks at me and he goes, "What's your meaning to life?" And I was like, "Whoa, like this is," and I, you know, as a professional and as a trainer, like you have to, I guess not necessarily play into that, but definitely try and come up with, or, you know, talk to him about it and really help talk him through the process, and kind of somewhat help give him value and some sort of closure that he might need. And yeah, I just explained to him like how beneficial traveling was for me when I was younger, and you know, it helped me figure out what I wanted to do when I was older. And I was very lucky to travel before the whole COVID and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I went on this bit of a chat with him he didn't say a whole lot back, but yeah, we talked for about a solid half an hour, 35 minutes. And he looked at his phone, he goes, "All right, well, our session's over. Thanks for that. I'll never see you again." Just got up and walked off, got in his mum's car, and
You never saw him again.
Never saw him again.
That can happen, man.
Yeah.
You know, especially if it's forced upon him. You know, with training, you really want to. You know, most of your clients are going to want to be there because they're paying.
Yeah.
You know, in that case, you know, special case like that, you know, they're obviously forced. I have a few clientele like that. It's a bit tough mentally to deal with. It wears you down, especially when they're not responding in return.
Well, for me, I was only in the industry for maybe just pushing 12 months, if that. And I'd never had that happen before. So I was like, how do I, you know, as a duty of care, also as an adult, like you have to think, is this guy going to go home and, you know, kill himself tonight? Like, how can I kind of...
What was his case? What was wrong with him?
He was from a foster parents. So,
all right, so he's been through a bit of trauma,
very rough growing up.
Did you ask him, you know, what his childhood was like, what he experienced?
So I definitely sat down with his foster parents before that and just kind of got a bit of a backstory as to what sort of growing up. Obviously they're pretty broad. They're not going to sit down with a stranger and tell them like all the ins and outs of, you know, this poor kid's growing up. But like there was a few sessions there where he'd come in after a night out, and he was only like 15 or 16 or something like that, and he was hungover and he just didn't want to be there, but he felt like he had to be there to keep his parents happy.
So his parents bring him in.
They were paying for the
so
sessions.
obviously something had happened at home and which they hadn't dealt with, and he's gone out of control. So it's a bit of a sad story. So it's just,
you know, stories like that or cases like that where it's not as easy as just, you know, it's signing up to be a personal trainer, hoping to, you know, make all this money and train all these athletes and, you know, get some.
Have you ever had a case like that where you've had someone like that and you've improved their life and you've helped them change their life around?
Definitely, yeah. Well, I like to think so. 100%.
Yeah. I think that's part of our purpose too. Helping people, you know, sort of find themselves in a way.
How do you personally bounce back after a bad day or a bad week?
Oh man, you know, obviously I have to sort of regulate my emotions to start with. Quite an emotional guy internally, might not show it externally, but internally, my emotions get triggered pretty easily. You know, through, you know, a lot of trauma that I've received throughout my life. But yeah, like I said, I try to breathe, you know, start those breaths, you know, affirm positive things to myself and just tell myself it's going to be okay. And then I slowly bounce back. It doesn't always work. Mm-hmm. There's going to be times where you're going to be pissed off. You're going to walk away. You're not going to want to train or do anything. You know, you sort of, you know, divert from your path. But, you know, as long as you're strong enough to bounce back and tell yourself to get back on the bike, it's okay. You know, you make it happen. And
also, how important is it then to go home to a positive household? Obviously, your daughter
it's super important, you know, because you want to provide a positive environment for your daughter and your family.
Yeah.
And obviously, the way you treat your partner, you know, your kids are going to see that too. So you want to provide something positive, and you know, you want them to know that, you know, it's not okay to be treated shit. You know, you want to be treated in a nice way. So you want to provide that example.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Moving on with motivation versus discipline.
Yeah.
How do you view the difference between motivation and discipline?
Well, motivation is something that only lasts for a little while, right? You might turn up one day, hey man, I'm motivated to do this. Discipline is coming and turning up even when you feel like shit, you don't want to do it, and just getting it done. You know, You're just doing it like you love it, even though you hate it. You know, you just do it. You know, and that's discipline. Motivation, you know, motivation's it's a flowing energy effect, so where it comes and goes. You know, it's a discipline that'll get you there at the end of the day.
And how do you develop those discipline routines, whether it's for yourself or also with clients?
You just got to get them into the habit of doing things. You know, once you do things over time, they become habit, and then after you start to miss those things, you don't feel right when you don't do them. It's like training. Like, for example, you've been training for how long? You know, if you take a day off or a couple of days off, you feel like shit.
Yep.
You're like, hey man, I really feel right. So, you know, that discipline gets you back on board.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you feel better again. You know, so I guess, you know, that's where the discipline comes in, and I guess if you're disciplined, you feel good too, and your motivation becomes easier to generate.
Yep. Can you share a quick story on when a client would lose motivation? Like, how do you help with that?
Yeah. For example, I've had a few fighters who've gone in and, you know, obviously they've had a loss on the night, didn't perform to their potential. You know, for them, you know, the motivation going back and getting hurt, you know, it's obviously not there, you know. So, you know, you got to really assert to them and let them know that they need to improve in so many different areas for them to, you know, get back on the bike. And you start off going back to the basics and fixing up the problems that sort of brought them down in the first place. You work hard, you go back and you compete and you just face your fears again and you overcome them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have an example of any motivational mental tools that you have that can help keep you personally locked in and consistent?
To be honest, it's your self-talk.
Yep.
It's yourself. Yeah, it's yourself. You got to keep yourself motivated. Yeah, you got to just keep telling yourself to keep bouncing back. Yeah, even if you're discouraged in any way, you know, you just got to remember that you've started something and you can't just stop doing it. You know, you've worked hard to be where you're at. And you just hop on back on your bike and just keep on going, you know. And once again, comes back to your breath, you know, doing positive affirmations and meditations, you know, and believing in yourself. Yeah, you got to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you're a very like positive self-talker.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit on the opposite, so I'm a very negative self-talker. Like I'm obviously you are your own harshest critic.
Yeah.
So if I'm struggling with like a set or a rep or, you know, a movement or something, then I find the negative self-talk definitely helps. And it's not like, you know, calling yourself a worthless piece of shit or anything, but it's negative to the point where it's a positive. If that makes sense.
It makes sense to me. I'll take it differently, whereas if somebody tells you you can't do it, it'll drive it even harder to do it.
You prove them wrong. Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So
never
if
tell
you're telling me
somebody
you can't do it, I'll be coming back hard.
Yeah.
Make sure I do it.
Yep. Yeah, and it's definitely a good tool to have in your tool belt.
Yeah, but I understand your point too, where you're your own harshest critic as well. I guess that drives you to the next level as well, where you know you're not satisfied with where you're at, so you want to try and push yourself to the next level. So.
Mm-hmm. What's the traits of being a high performer, whether it's in fitness, business, wellness, whatever it is, you know?
You got to be honest with yourself in that way, so you can improve.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, definitely. What's something in the fitness industry right now that makes you shake your head?
Oh man, just some of the poor performances from a lot of the fitness professionals, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of them over the years where they're putting no effort in, and also a lot of the trainers that are coming out, you know, it's not their fault. They're coming out unskilled out of their certification, and they're not really educated in how to train someone else. So you're getting these people getting educated over over a few months. You know, it takes years to educate yourself on you know, on fitness and health, and you know what, it continues forever. You got to keep educating yourself every day. But you know, just the fact that it's so unregulated and you see so many poor performances because of, you know, poor education, you know, or lack of effort from the fitness professionals, I guess that's what annoys me the most from the fitness industry.
Mm-hmm. And how different would your perspective of a training session that you did this morning would be compared to one that you did 20 years ago?
I think the one 20 years ago would have been a little bit more intense, where, you know, I guess, you know, when you're coming up as a young person, you're always thinking harder is better, you know, whereas, you know, as you get older, you realise, you know, you got to be trained smarter, you know, and harder as well, but, you know, not just
find
hard.
More of that balance.
Yeah, you need to find that balance in between of training smarter and hard.
What red flags should people look out for when choosing a coach or a PT?
Make sure they're focused on the client. Yeah, make sure they're not too distracted, and make sure that, you know, they're giving you something that, you know, keeps you motivated and sort of keeps you excited. You know, if you go in there doing the same thing all the time, you know, it gets boring. You know, that's something that's, you know, me, if I'm looking for a trainer, I want somebody who's going to, you know, provide me excitement and you know, elevate my skill level. You know, I don't want to keep going back and doing the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much of that is on the trainer, and then also how much of that is on the client? Or is it 50-50? Or what do you think the ratio is?
I'd probably say it's 80%.
Or it depends.
80% on the trainer, 20% on the client.
Okay.
I guess if you if you're just providing that skill level from the outset, then they're going to be expecting that variety and that skill. If you let them get away with doing the same thing all the time, then it's going to be a lot harder to sort of elevate them to the next level. Yeah, you just got to force it on them.
But is it also beneficial doing the same thing over and over and perfecting it rather than just jumping from
obviously you got to get your foundations perfected.
Yep.
Yeah, it's technique. There's no substitute for perfect technique. That needs to be on point from the beginning before you level up.
Yep.
Yeah, but once you get that technique on point, there's no reason why you can't level up.
Yeah, definitely. Have you ever had to re-educate a client who came in with poor or harmful advice from a previous coach?
Yeah, a lot of different athletes have come in with poor habits, whether they're lifting habits, technique habits. You obviously need to break them down and reset them again.
What are some of the mental ones for that? So beliefs that a previous trainer has taught them something or educated them something.
As in?
Whether it's around nutrition, training, a little bit like what you said before, like the classic, like no pain, no gain sort of thing.
Yeah, not all pain is your friend.
Yeah.
So, the right pain is cool, the wrong pain is not. Don't push through like silly pain and don't push through silly injuries too. If you're injured and you're hurt and, you're finding that those movements are hurting you, I'd back off and, obviously modify, to suit that person at the time.
Yeah. Cool. Do you do much around nutrition?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple myths for you around nutrition. Does fat make you fat?
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. I've never become fat from eating fat.
Yeah. Fasted workouts burn more fat?
There's studies that say yes. Mm-hmm. I'm not really too sure, whether it does or not, but there is studies that say yes, it does.
Sometimes that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Eating after 8 p.m. can cause unwanted fat gain?
Oh man, I'm a pig at night time, so I eat all times of the night. But they could have their case there.
I guess it's case by case as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So I got a little rapid fire round for you as well, Pete.
Yeah.
So first thing that comes to mind, all right. What's one simple? Sorry, we'll start again.
You're okay.
What's one simple wellness habit anyone can start that will help them better themselves?
Cutting out your junk food.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like rubbish food, it doesn't do you any good. It's not going to benefit you in any way. Get rid of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then what's your thought process around like cheat meals?
Cheat meals, everyone's going to eat. I'm an ice cream junkie myself, so I eat a lot of ice cream. It's cheat meals are okay because you're being disciplined all the time is pretty hard, especially when you're on the road. But sometimes I'd say once a week you're okay to have a decent cheat meal.
Yep.
As long as you're eating, pretty well for 85% of the time.
Yeah. It's okay to reward yourself.
You still got to live life.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're not going on massive binges.
Yep.
Like I do.
Yeah. Once you're stuck in that little hamster wheel, eh?
Yeah, and you just need to limit it as much as you can.
What's your gym pet peeve that secretly makes you rage inside?
Oh man, people leaving plates and weights everywhere. People tying those long handles and turning into short handles.
Yep. When there's a short handle, literally in the box.
Yeah. That upsets me too. But
I really thought you would have gone down the phone route then.
Huh?
I just thought you'd crack it about people being on their phones. I honestly thought that was going to be your top answer.
Not really.
Okay.
I'll probably crack it more if the trainer's on their phone more than they should be.
Yep.
Obviously sometimes you have to be.
Yep.
You're a business. But as long as you're not on your phone 24/7, during the whole session.
That's something I'm hesitant of because obviously I'm tracking weights through people's program through the app, and to someone that's might not know that and they're like, oh, that trainer's always on his phone or her phone.
There's a difference between recording information and somebody just social media playing around and not paying attention to their client. That pisses me off. Yeah. It's just I feel sorry for the client.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Which one hurts more, burpees or taxes?
Taxes, man.
Yeah. Definitely, especially when you're on $5,000 a week. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm not on that anymore. Not at the moment, anyway.
Most used word you use in client sets.
Oh man, keep your technique tight. Stay focused.
Yeah, okay.
You to keep your technique on point.
Do you ever find you repeat the same word too many times?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your go-to word?
Oh man, it's reset.
Nice job.
Reset, get yourself back into your smooth technique. Don't fall out of technique.
Yep.
I'm always on their asses about being technically correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
cool. And we'll start to wrap it up a little bit, Pete.
You're right, man.
So what does success look like to you?
Success is somebody who can succeed by giving love and spreading knowledge, and obviously receiving that in return. To me, that's success.
Mm-hmm.
Money is, you can always make money, but if you haven't got that soul and that love that goes with it, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So it's more about having that purpose.
Yeah, man, you need to have a purpose in life.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Definitely. What's your spirit animal?
Oh, my spirit animal. I love eagles.
Eagles?
Yeah, I just want to fly.
Very
and
wise.
Be free.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see what's going on down below.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And last one, Pete. If you could put something up on a billboard, what would it be?
Oh man, show love to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important that we show love to everybody. If we did, we'd live in a much nicer world.
Mm-hmm.
And be friendly, and don't just be you, be real.
Yep. I think that's a pretty good place to wrap it up, Pete.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
If someone wants to train with you, online or face to face, how can they hit you up?
You can hit me up on my Instagram, on my Peter X Health and Fitness page. You can DM me, or you can text me or give me a call. Come and talk to me.
Yeah, cool. Too easy. If you made it this far, guys, thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to send through any fitness myths or questions you'd like us to tackle next time. Hopefully you took something away valuable from this chat, and I'll catch you next time on Coach's Corner. Thanks, guys.